Welcome to Overwhelmed to Overcomer podcast with coach, encourager, and strategist Anna McLaughlin. If you're a Christian woman who has big dreams rooted in an even bigger God, but most days those dreams feel completely out of reach, trust me, I get it. As a homeschooling mama of four, entrepreneur, investor, and all around wearer of many hats, I am right there with you. And yet, the Lord invites us to live out our God given purpose now in the midst of the madness. So, let's explore together how we can know our calling and walk in it today with clarity, with courage, with each other. It's time for you to live the life you love and love the life you live. Let's do this thing. Welcome to this episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer. I'm getting used to saying that. It's been really fun to have this new title to go with a shift in our conversation. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're new to the party, I recommend that you go back and look at the episode Changes. Yes, for the song. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it details what this shift has been in this podcast from She Considers a Field into Overwhelmed to Overcomer. So, hello, friend. It's December. It's December. We're all going to take a breath. And in this conversation, you and I are going to take a look at one of my earliest tools. I think it's the first tool that I created, a guide that's maybe 3 or 4 years old that details what I've been using for many years as I enter into this holiday season. Because I don't know about you, but I think, especially as a woman, especially for those of us with kids in the house or grandkids, there's a lot to this holiday season, starting with Thanksgiving, going into Christmas. It's like a 6-week sprint, and there's that high level of, like, the practical tactical, like, the gifts and the events and the cookie bake-offs and the grocery shopping and the recipes and the coordinating and the calendars and the people, and then there's this next layer of the dynamics. Seeing people we haven't seen in a while, seeing people who maybe bring up some memories or some feelings, navigating the, shoulds and the ought tos and the expectations. And then there's the deeper level of, I want to make it special and I want it to be magical and I want it to feel fun and festive and exciting and adventurous. And we always do this, but we always do this. But we're also going to pull in this other tradition this year that someone else did that seemed like such a great idea. And then there's the deepest piece of Christmas, Emmanuel. Why we do all this to begin with. And in the wee small hours of the morning, when we're putting together that 15th toy and we're losing one of the pieces and we're losing our minds, we start to go, wait a second, wasn't that the point to begin with? And so I want to invite you now. We're a couple weeks into the month by the time this episode airs. You're probably starting to feel the pace pick up. Maybe you're even a little bit surprised that you managed to listen to this episode. But I'm so glad you're here, and I want to encourage you stay all the way through, because you're going to find a lightening of your load through the course of this conversation. Okay? So, I feel like I started a sentence and then I lost it, but we're just gonna keep on going. Whatever we're talking about, we're just going to lighten our loads. And we're going to really set the table for how can this moment right now be precious, be holy, and we still have all the fun and we do the things, but maybe not all the things. So, I built a guide. I'm sure you're shocked. I love the guides, right? Something little that can move the needle in big ways. And in this guide, Thrive Through the Holidays, it's a free guide. I'll link it in the notes in this episode. I walk you through my own process for helping to bring some joy, some purpose, some peace, some lightness to this season. And I'll take you back to where it started for me. So, when I was in high school, my parents had divorced when I was 10, 11 years old. And I got it in my head once I started driving that instead of we used to do the Thanksgiving and Christmas swap. So I would spend Thanksgiving with one parent and Christmas with the other. They both lived in town. And I decided once I started driving, I've got this. I'll just go see both for both holidays. So I'll do the Thanksgiving thing with both. And then, particularly with Christmas, I'll make sure that I'm spending time with both of them at some point during the Christmas holiday. There was still like a primary parent that got that got that holiday, depending on the year, but I'm just gonna go back and forth. They lived about 30 minutes apart. And I had friends as well that lived at each in each area. And so Christmas Christmas Eve, I think I was 17 or 18. I'm I'm driving. Somehow I, like, started at one parent's and then drove out to the next parent's and then drove back again and then was driving out again. So it's like these back and forth trips, 30 minutes each way in the ice and snow. Midway through the day, somebody got in a skid coming out of the mall and T-boned me. It was very minor, but still, it's something to wrangle. He got out of the car in his Santa hat. I was like, "Oh, this is great." Fun times will be had by all right now. We worked it through, no big damage, and I kept on going, didn't change my schedule. By the end of the day, I'm driving back from the Christmas Eve service at my church, which was closer to my dad's house, driving back to my mom's house. The neck crick from the fender bender has started getting really aggressive, very loud, hard to ignore, and I just started bawling. I was like, "I am so tired. I am so stressed. I hate this." And of course, then you kind of start to catastrophize, right? Why did my parents get divorced? Why do they live 30 minutes away from each other? All these things that I really can't control. What could I control? How many dang times I was going back and forth in the car that day. That was a choice. That was a choice I was not yet ready to own. But that was the moment where I decided, okay, there's a lot I can't control about my life and my story. There's a lot that I would like to look different right now, but I can control what I say yes to and what I say no to. So it was that moment, uh, whatever it was now, 23 years ago, where I decided I'm taking back Christmas. I'm not going to hate it anymore because I'd gotten to the point where I really hated it. It had become very logistical. It had become all about, making sure I was at the right places at the right time. And as we become adults, it only gets more complicated with in laws and, the extended family that we start to gather around us, the friends that we have as well. So that's it. I'm going to find a way to love it. And that really was my first foray into boundaries as a tool to help own your own story. So, Thrive Through the Holidays is exactly that. It's a tool specifically for this season for you to take a minute and say, what do we really need as a family to make room for the whole point of this thing, which is Emmanuel? Emmanuel, God with us. We must make space for that. We must make room for our hearts to kind of open up to the magic, the wonder, the mystery of what it really signifies that God came to earth as a baby, this limited being, the height of vulnerability, the one who was there at the beginning. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him, nothing that was made was made. Like, I'm singing the song Classical Conversations Memorized. It's John 1, 1 through 7. And so I've got the song in my head. I'll link it because it's really, really precious. But he was there from the beginning, and then he came completely vulnerable to earth. We must make room for that. So I'm going to walk you briefly through the process, and then I invite you, grab the guide, and listen, do it now. Block off a half hour to do this work now, December 12th. Commit to the process, or whenever you're listening to this. Commit to the process so that you can set the table. I actually start this over Thanksgiving, but we had other things to talk about with Thanksgiving. And then I had to introduce you to Doug and Leslie Davis. And oh my goodness, are they not amazing? If you missed that episode, go back and listen. Hear all of their wisdom about marriage. They have become wonderful, wonderful voices in my life. I absolutely love everything that they're doing. So, how are we going to thrive this holiday season? It starts, apropos of what we were talking about in John 1, it starts with a word. Not the word, but a word. Choose your word for the holiday season. What do you want this season to be this year? Maybe it's restful, maybe it's festive, maybe it's joyful, maybe it's contemplative, maybe it's quiet, maybe it's recovering. Whatever it is, get crystal clear and bring in whatever other decision makers you need to, a spouse, children, if they're older, whatever it is. What is it that your people need? What is it that you need in this season? If you need a restful Christmas season, your calendar is going to look, or better look, a lot different from the one who wants a festive season and wants to do all the parties and the ugly sweater contests and the cookie bake offs and the secret Santa, white elephant, whatever it is. It's going to look very different. But if you don't know what you want first or what you need and you set that lens, then there's nothing to guide your decision making other than, is that date open on the calendar right now? And before you know it, you're doing 16 things and you're losing your mind and you're in the car crying, going, I hate Christmas. No, you don't hate Christmas. You hate the Christmas you created. Okay. Oh, hope that's okay to say today. We're going there. Okay. It's not that we hate the day, we hate what we have created. Okay. I reached a point as a believer at the time, the only believer in my family that I knew of, who hated Christmas because it wasn't about Christmas, it was about everything that I had said yes to, everything that I'd actually kind of offered myself up to. They weren't even asking that of me. When I was like, "I'm just gonna keep it pretty chill next year, and I'm just gonna do one family at a time," they were like, "Totally fine." It wasn't a problem. I'd made it a problem. So we choose our word, and the reason I'm telling you my story is because I know I'm not alone, okay? This is what we do. Until we learn, I actually sacrifice Emmanuel. I sacrifice the experience of Emmanuel when I don't make him room, right? So we need to prepare him room. I actually went on a little jaunt just now because I was like, where did that come from? It's joy to the world. Let every heart prepare him room, give him room so that we can feel his coming. It's a holy time. Advent literally means coming to, comes from the Latin word venio, and then the ad means, so venio means come and ad means to. I was a classics major. The nerding out that is available to you on this podcast is almost without limit. We can talk about law, we can talk about classics, we can talk about language origins, we can talk about theology. We're going all the places, okay? We're going all the places. For those of you that have been around for a while, you've heard me sing songs about Newton's laws of motion as well. So I will spare you today. I will spare you today, but we can nerd out on all the things. Okay, so we're going to choose our word. Where are we going? Once we know where we're going, being mindful of, how can I create space for the Lord? How can I really have that place of quiet contemplation where the wonder of his love, I think that's also joy to the world, the wonder of his love has space to enter in? Then we start to look at our traditions. What are the special moments that we want to bring in this year? What means Christmas to our family in particular? What are the things that we always do that we're going to do again? Maybe we're going to lay some down. Maybe we retire them or just say, not this year. But what are the essentials that if we get to December 26th and those things didn't happen, we're going to be like, oh, we missed that this year, right? Because the calendar fills up and some of these things, they're not open past the 25th. You got to get in and you got to be there. And then it can get really complicated. We have what's become one of those family stories that just kind of lives on in infamy, where we had a tradition since my husband and I were dating of going to see the lights. We'd go and see the Christmas lights in McAdenville, North Carolina, which is very close to our house. They call it Christmastown, USA. All the houses decorate, they're all lit up, and you just drive through this sweet little town, see everybody's, front porch lights and their roof lights and their lawn ornaments. And I mean, it's big. It's a big, big deal. Well, we had our 4 children. I think our youngest was in diapers, so, probably ages 7 to 1. Everybody was loaded up, and McAdenville was taking a while. The kids started to get cranky, they wanted to get out of the car, I mean, half of them didn't even have any context for why this was exciting. So, in a fit of impulse, first, people had to use the bathroom. So I'm and the traffic was so bad that I had to take them out of the car and walk them a quarter mile to the gas station to use the restroom because walking was faster than driving. That's where we were. And then, Brian and I are having a fun marriage moment, and in a fit of impulse, we decide, "This is too crazy," and I think it literally was December 22nd. There was no gap. There was no margin, no extra room. So in a fit of impulse, we drive 40 minutes across town, 40 minutes across town to Concord, North Carolina, to go see the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They do a lights display as well, and as we're in line, there's an option to do the speed pass or the general. And this is a note for anybody who lives in the Charlotte area. If you haven't done this already, a word of caution. It looked like both lines were going to the same place. Okay. You pull up and it looked like, oh, they'll just turn right into the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So why would we pay $40 more to go faster? We get up to the line. There's no way to make a different choice now. You're locked into the general. And all of a sudden, General veers left into a wide open field with nothing but headlights and taillights for miles. Not literally miles, but I tell you what, it felt like it. Weaving back and forth in this serpentine line, going nowhere fast, waiting to get in to the main event. There had been a sign that said estimated wait time for general admission 4 hours. And we saw them, we said, huh, that's a typo. It was not a typo. We got home at 1 o'clock in the morning with 2 toddlers and 2 young elementary school students. Ask me how fun that car ride was as we weaved back and forth in and out, as I periodically had to shuffle children who were not in diapers to the porta potty in the middle of this field. Not exactly preparing him room. And And Charlotte Motor Speedway has become our tradition. That's where we go now, in part because of that story. So I'm just going to invite you, and this is not in the guide, but let me just invite you. When you have a moment like that, as much as you're going to want to be like having all sorts of feelings and holding all sorts of other people besides you responsible for those feelings, this will be one of your stories that you will pull out and find so much joy in the years to come. We tell this story every year with our children. We laugh about it. Everybody shares what they remember. I remember literally, I cleaned my email inbox on that car ride. Yes, I did. That is how I spent our Christmas moment. 4 hours in the car cleaning my email inbox because I'm certainly not talking to my husband right now. Thank you very much. I've learned it's been about a decade. Well, not quite that long. It's been about 6 years. I've grown a bit since then. And now I know these are the stuff of legends. This is the thing we unpack every year in the same way that we unpack the ornaments and tell the stories. We unpack or yeah, the stories about the ornaments. We unpack these moments and go, "Do you remember that time where we were in the line for the lights forever? Josh's diaper just keeps getting fuller because I'm sure we didn't bring a diaper bag. The porta potty is like the main event, the only thing of interest for the kids to see. Nobody slept, not one child slept that whole entire time, wide awake until 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So I invite you to schedule your memories. We're going all kinds of directions. I'm trying to pin it down for you guys, and I'm just getting stuck in my own stories. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Reorient your headspace with my free guide, Overwhelmed to Overcomer. No matter how many plates you're spinning, no matter how much you're navigating in this season, the Lord is inviting you to lay down your burdens at His feet and walk in your unique calling with peace, purpose, and joy. Click on the link in the show notes to ditch overwhelm today. Okay, so we're choosing our word. We are deciding our memories. What are the 2 to 3 things that we have to do? It's not Christmas if we don't. So for us, Charlotte Motor Speedway goes on the calendar and it goes early because guess what? You don't have to wait 4 hours if you go like December 5th. Okay. And hopefully by the time you listen to this, we will have gone. You'll have to check with me. Did you go to the Speedway yet, or is that still on the list? Because we gotta get it pinned down. Um, and what are the tasks we have to do? And this is where you need to compare notes with your significant other. You need to compare notes with any, like, older children. What has to happen? Is there an event that maybe you're not super excited about, but you just have to go? Mom means too much to us, dad means too much to us. We have to show up to the ugly sweater party in their neighborhood even though we don't like it, okay? 2 to 3, that's it. Put them on the calendar first. Put them on the calendar now if you haven't already, and go before the 22nd because it gets a little dicey the closer to Christmas you get. Then, step 3, what are you not doing? If your heart is to have a season of peace, maybe you can't say yes to the 3 neighborhood parties that are popping up. Maybe you can't say yes to that friend of yours that just can't believe we haven't gotten together by now and we really should do it before the new year. No, no. You're busy preparing him room. Now, if your word is festive, go nuts, right? Go nuts. Do all the things that looks like. But just be mindful, what do I want to create? How am I, you know, like we co-labor with Christ in our lives. He gives us a lot of freedom. How will we use it to glorify him, right? So what are you not doing? Where are the energy drains? Where are you going because of obligation? And you know what? Sometimes we pick, like we said, sometimes we pick a couple of those and we say, I show up out of love and obedience, even when I don't want to. That's okay. All right. So, what are you doing? What are you not doing? All right. Step 4, we create an escape hatch for our minds. There will come a point this season, especially if you have people that you're tending to, especially if you're a mama, especially if you've got extended family that you're supporting, or you're a wonderful aunt, or whatever it is. When you carry that role where you're creating magic for others, when you're creating that sense of wonder and beauty for others, there are people to buy for, there are gifts to wrap, there are events to go to. And it starts to kind of creep up, and you start to feel like, I'm not breathing very well right now. Decide ahead of time when that moment comes how you are tending to your sweet self. Okay. How are you tending to your sweet self? Make a list. Some easy things, maybe some more time intensive things. For example, do you need a massage halfway through the Christmas season? It's okay. Do you need a little outing with your girls to get your nails done? Or something little, and make sure you have some little things. I'm going to tell you the most powerful one, and this is one that my coach offers to me all the time when I'm working with him. It is simply this: get really quiet, take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth with a ha sound. Holy Spirit is breath. When we connect with our breath, we are connecting with Him. Okay. Now, I know we're technically connecting with our breath, but we can go to that place of perspective and realizing this is God. The Lord gave me breath. He is the breath of life. And when I breathe, I can take that moment to connect with Him. And that can happen in the midst of the madness. When it's all starting to hum around you and the stress levels rising and you're starting to get up high, just that breath. I'm okay. He's with me. Emmanuel, God with us. And sink into that moment and find your rest. Okay. So, whatever those things are, bubble bath, little outing, date night, moment with a book, sitting in front of the fire, don't forget to relish in the very thing that you've been working so hard to create. Sometimes, especially as mamas, we're especially guilty of this. We create the magic and we forget to sit in it and behold it a little bit. So grab your sweet self a cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate with marshmallows and sit in front of that sweet fireplace with the mantle hung just so and the stockings up and the garlands and the tree and revel in the magic for a minute. Okay. the last step. And in some ways, this is the most important because even if we haven't set the table in the way that we planned, even if we never printed out the guide, even if you get to December 22nd, you're like, oh, yeah, that episode. Oh, yeah, that would have been nice. Would have been nice to do some of that planning that Anna talked about. Maybe next year. This step you do anytime. Permission to revise. My first revision, as I told you at the beginning of this conversation, was December 24th, 20 some odd years ago. The very last minute, I decided it's time for a change. I want to prepare him room. I want to love this holiday again. I'm tired of being Scrooge. Similarly, A Christmas Carol, in the middle of the night, Ebenezer Scrooge, right before Christmas morning, changed his mind. I'm going to keep Christmas and keep it well. And he did exactly that. So I invite you to the same. Whether you've gone through this guide, you did all the things, wonderful, or you didn't. When the madness starts to pick up, when the pace starts to get fast, when things start to get overly busy, when you thought you could cram in both events in one day, here's a little pro tip. If you're using the word cram when you look at your calendar, it's probably not the right decision. I'm just going to put that right there. If you have to coordinate cars and there's some sort of Tetris process going on, you might be able to pull that off once, maybe twice in a holiday season. But if that's your everyday, listen, I think I operate at a slower pace than some people, maybe than most people, but I'm going to invite you to reconsider whether this is going to be sustainable long term. And if you've got it all humming beautifully and then the wheels start to come off, permission to cancel. Just call them and say, I'm so sorry. I thought I could do everything and I'm really running out of gas. I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. Could we connect for coffee in the new year? What I really wanted was to see you and I overestimated what I could do. Just love your people. Send them love even without you being there. Edit your schedule, edit down your own expectations of yourself and make room for the true purpose of this season, which is the Christ child. Okay? So grab yourself a copy of Thrive Through the Holidays. Send me a message. Let me know when you've done it. If you utilize this guide and find value in it, share it with someone you care about. Okay? Let's get the word out there that you can have a holiday season that you love where there is ample room for Christ to come. Okay, friend? Beautiful work. Let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, remember, you've got this because He's got you. Friend, thank you so much for listening to this most recent episode of Overwhelmed to Overcomer. So listen, the whole idea behind this mission is that when we endeavor to be brave with our lives, we need to do it together. Belonging is key. So if you resonated with the message from this episode, share it with a friend. Do it together. Thank you again. And until next time, never forget, you've got this because He's got you.